Hey guys, I'm trying to do a few videos here. The sun's going down. It's a beautiful night here in Indiana. I'm gonna try to do some videos, a series of sort of what you need to know if you're gonna go racing with MotoAmerica. Now, this is not gonna be like what the pros do. This is not gonna be with the big teams with the semis. What this is meant for is for the little teams, the privateers, the guys who are maybe doing it for the first time. It's just the rider and his dad maybe, or the rider and a couple of his buddies. And what I have found, been about 6 years now, I've been working in the paddock, so not forever, but I've kind of been around it for a while. And what I found is that there's a lot that you need to know, and there's a lot of details, and they don't always tell you. There's not maybe really that many resources. I mean, the MotoAmerica guys are great, especially when you try to get your license, and Danielle those guys are fantastic. But they're busy. They got a lot of things to do, and they kind of just expect that you know what you got to do. And so this first video here is going to be on what do you do sort of before the weekend. Here we are, got a pit bike going. I got the camper getting all loaded up. I don't have the actual race bike myself and trailer, so I'm just taking care of the crew. My job is the crew chief. Got a couple other guys here from town. We're going to meet up at the track. So as far as entry fees for the actual crew and things like that, well, you've got to have that taken care of ahead of time. There's deadlines, and not only does the rider, so if you've done some club racing, you'll be familiar with getting your registration in as a rider. Well, you're also going to need to get a registration for all of your crew members. And so that's going to include them having to have an AMA membership. I mean, this is MotoAmerica, but it's also AMA Pro Racing. So you're going to need to have, everybody's going to have an AMA membership. And the rider is the one who is going to have to get them registered. So through Motorsports Reg is where you have to do that. And you've got a couple of different options there. You can get just a crew pass, if you will, and that's going to allow them to get on hot pit. All the things, everywhere that you're going to need them to be, it's going to give them access to that. There's also kind of a worker pass, and that gives them a little bit more restricted access. You're not going to be able to get out on a hot pit lane. Some of these details I'm going to tell you about as we go through this weekend. I didn't mention, maybe we're getting ready to go to Mid-Ohio. This is the closest race to us, some of my favorite ones. And so your crew maybe won't have as much access. So you got to know what you need with the people. What's your people going to be doing? Another option is actually just to let them get a ticket, just like a regular spectator. That's one of the cool things about MotoAmerica is spectators can go anywhere. They can go all through the paddock. They can't go on the hot pit, right? They have some restrictions, but they do have the ability to go throughout the paddock. So if you've got a family member or something that wants to hang out with you the whole weekend, just get them a weekend pass. That might not be the worst idea. But a worker pass right now, so this is 2025, so these prices are probably going to change. Right now, worker pass is like $75. I think a weekend pass for MotoAmerica as a spectator is $100. So a quote-unquote worker pass is a little bit cheaper. I think an actual crew pass is either $125 or $150. I'm not sure. Traditionally, the rider pays for that. So that's another little tip. These people are helping you out. So that's kind of the least that can be done, I think, in the minds of many riders. That's just kind of traditional. But if you want to help the rider out too and chip in for your pass, that's cool too. It always helps out. This is expensive. So that needs to be done, and you really need to have that done ahead of time. Tomorrow, this is going to be move-in day. This is Wednesday afternoon. Tomorrow's move-in day, Thursday. I'll talk about that in the next video. You really want to have all your crew ready to go as far as their registration. So when they get there, they can get their credentials. Just another reminder. I mean, this is pro racing, and they take it seriously. So really the kind of laid-back nature of like club racing, you don't see that as much. I mean, these guys expect you to be prepared. They expect you to have your stuff together, and when you show up and maybe you don't, or sometimes there's last minute things where it's like, hey, I got another crew that wanted to show up and it was really last minute. They can accommodate that, but it's difficult, and they're really busy when, especially on move-in day. Danielle and those guys at the registration desk there, they are really busy, and so they will take care of you the best they can. But that's kind of my tip number one for you guys. If you've never done it before, thinking about it, be prepared. Read your emails, get your stuff done on time, get your entry fee in on time, get your crew signed up, make sure everybody has an AMA membership, because you're going to need that AMA number, and you can't cheat them, by the way. I had one person that theirs just expired like a few days prior, and they thought, oh, it's no big deal, I'll just give you my number, I'll get it renewed before the event. The system wouldn't take it. So yeah, they're pretty smart, they're pretty savvy about that. So again, that's kind of my first one. First tip for everybody is just to kind of the be prepared part. And I think we all kind of have our bodies prepared. You're trying to get in shape, you got your bike ready. There's more to it than that. You gotta have your crew ready. You gotta have all of your paperwork, so to speak, ready. So I hope this helps you guys out. More to come. We'll see you guys at Mid-Ohio tomorrow. Looking forward to it. I lied. I do have one more tip for you. It has to do with accommodations. So you can stay inside the paddock. So sort of like if you're Lear or Azra, where you might have a camper, or maybe some of these people that stay inside their trailer. You can do that. That's allowed. You do only have a certain size paddock footprint. That is something that you do request when you register, of how big you need, like how big of a trailer that you have. You can ask for a big old giant spot. They might not give it to you. So that's another little tip I'm going to throw in there as a bonus for you. But you do need to think about where your crew is going to be staying, where's going to be your accommodations. For us, Mid-Ohio has a worker campground that would be for the Mid-Ohio kind of employees. That's where we're going to be parking our guy. That's usually what we do with our camper. Some of the crew is going to be there. There is RV specific spaces that MotoAmerica designates. You do have to reserve those in advance. I don't think they cost extra money. I've never actually done that, but you just have to think about it. Some people even choose to just go off site, stay at a hotel. I mean, if you're a baller like that, go for it, man. But something to think about is kind of what you're going to do with your folks. They do control the paddock a little bit tighter than maybe at a club racing event. So, again, it's a little bit from a logistics standpoint. Where's everybody going to stay? Because as you've probably gathered, and maybe I sort of implied but didn't say specifically, you're going to need more than just one helper. You're probably going to want, the magic number for one rider, one bike is probably three people, three helpers. And I think as we go through this weekend and you get to see how the different sessions work and all the things that you've got to do, I think maybe it'll make more sense as why you need that. Can you get away with just one helper? Yeah, but I think the rider is going to be doing a lot of the work, and there's a lot of pressure on these riders. Like, this isn't easy. When you're talking MotoAmerica, depends on what class you're running, they might be under a lot of pressure, in my opinion, from a crew chief standpoint, and as a rider. You want to get your rider not working on the bike, not working in the paddock, not going and chasing tires, not putting fuel and stuff. Let them just be a rider. If they got social media stuff they're going to do, let them go off and do that. Let them do networking with other riders, go hang out with them. Let them kind of keep their mind focused on being a rider, and let the crew do the crew stuff. And so since you're going to need some crew, you're going to need a place to house the crew, if you will. So just, again, something to think about. Maybe similar to club racing, some little subtle differences in there too, but again, it's all part of the preparation.